And here we are at the Wallem Lake Rod and Gun Club. It's your boy RDubb. We out here for straight kicking it. This is day 3 of hanging out with the Eastern Medicine Singers, which is a Native American drum group that I drum and sing with. We had an exciting time this weekend. Friday we had practice over at the Rhode Island Indian Council. Yesterday we were out at Pardon Grade Day out in Tiverton. And today we're at the Wallem Lake Rod and Gun Club's annual festival. So we're going to do some drumming later on to give them a little bit of a taste of the Eastern culture, because we are Eastern Woodlands people over here, I myself in Narragansett. So kick back, kick your shoes off. We're going to get into it in a moment, and check out with you in a few. Your boy RDubb, straight kicking.
Since November is nationally and officially Native American Heritage Month, figured what better way to kick the show off than by sharing some of that culture with you. Today's episode will feature members of the Eastern Medicine Singers, which is a Native American drum group that I'm a part of and perform with. The Eastern Medicine Singers consider themselves to be more of a cultural drum than a powwow drum, being that our focus is on educating the community at large about Native American culture, heritage, and traditions, particularly that of the Eastern Woodlands, and also imparting those same lessons to our youth so they can carry them on to future generations. I'm sure that the discussion today will be very informative, and I'm sure that you'll learn a few things that you didn't know about us natives. So, with no further ado, the Eastern Medicine Singers.
And we are in the studio today. Welcome to Straight Kicking It. As you know, this is our new show we got going on, where we kind of try to mix a lot of stuff that's going on in the community with some cultural stuff, with some music stuff, with the social scene, you know. It's a very exciting show, so we're happy that you could join us today. I am ecstatic to have in the studio with me today some of my very good friends and brothers. As I've shared with you, I think on a couple of occasions, that's funny because it's our first show, I drum with a Native American drum group called the Eastern Medicine Singers. We had a couple of clips right before we got into the segment right here, just kind of different events that we do. And at this time, I just want to ask the gentlemen to introduce themselves, so we'll start right here.
Hi, my name is Spirit Wolf. I'm from the Arawak Nations, from the south.
All right, very good. Appreciate you being here, Wolf.
Thank you.
And to his left?
David Nebraska. I'm Onondaga of the Iroquois Confederacy.
Okay, very good. So, gentlemen, thank you for being on the show today. Definitely do appreciate it. I just kind of want to start off, for a lot of our viewers, they might not know what Native American drumming is. I know we have American drumming, we also have African drumming, but Native American drumming is a little bit different. So would any of you guys care to share a little bit about what drumming is about, just to kind of inform our audience a little bit?
Well, I can tell you, to us, I was raised by my grandmother. She was a Native American healer, and what she taught me, the drum is like the heartbeat, a heartbeat that connects you with the natural source. Mm-hmm. So every time we did a ceremonial, we bring out the drum, and also with the drum, they communicate with different people around them. Mm. So for us, the drum is not just like a musical instrument. It was like a very sacred tool to connect with the Creator, correct, with the spiritual world.
Okay, very good. Dave, anything you want to add to that, sir?
Well, the drum, you see at the powwows is usually a large drum, and you'll have many singers around that drum. It more draws off of the Western American Indian cultures. In the very old days over here, it was a little bit different. The music along with the style of singing and drumming, most of that you'll just see in the communities itself, as opposed to out in the public.
Sure. One of the things when people ask me, about the drumming and all that, one of the things I like to tell them is we're more of a cultural drum than a powwow drum. Do you guys agree with that? And if so, why or why not?
Well, when I came around, I'm from the south. When I came around, I met the native from here, and we kind of native from different tribes came and did the chanting. Most of the songs are from the language that is forgotten, and when we chant those songs and play it on the drum, it brings like an inner connection between the people. And like when we do it in the parks or at powwows, most people will come around and say, well, wow, I feel grounded by the drum. I feel connected. It's like people will compare it like going to a church, going to a meeting where they feel highly connected, spiritual connected to it. So to add to yes.
All right. Dave, what about yourself, sir? Would you agree with that statement? Am I totally off base, or?
I don't know. There's a lot to it, and here's what it comes down to. There's a lot of different nations out there. There's a lot of individuals out there. There's a lot of different families out there, and one person can't sum up what the drum means. But there is something that is shared in common. I do believe there definitely is a spiritual aspect to it. We can say that much. How it applies and where it applies is a powwow a sacred place for many people. They may say yes, it's still spiritual doings that are going on there. Other times, other people are more conservative, will say that we only do really spiritual things behind the scene, not open to the public, in other words. I know firsthand, anyways, there is spiritual power from that drum. There's spiritual power from the songs. Especially when if you're many of the songs, not some of the songs are very old and ancient. Many of them are recently composed, and there's been a pretty good effort by some people to compose new songs. Very talented people like yourself and Daryl Black Eagle there do a pretty good job at composing some songs. That's the thing that's pretty good about the Eastern Medicine Sing and Drum, is that there are songs that are composed by the singers themselves instead of having everything borrowed. And there's a few very old songs too that we do on there. That being said, and also the songs that are composed are done to the best of the ability of those who are writing the songs in the old Wampanoag language. And that's very important, because even though the whole language may not be intact, there is language that has been left by certain elders that have held on to it, and it's important that whatever is left is taken care of.
Sure.
And it's been incorporated into the music, and I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely. So turn our attention directly towards Eastern medicine, away from the drum in general. You touched on a couple of points there, Dave. I mean, I think it's fantastic. Me, myself, I'm probably the youngest in terms of getting involved in the native culture and all that sort of stuff. But to come around the drum where, like you said, we're making our own music, singing in the Eastern style, the Eastern language, it's pretty exciting to me, and it seems to be exciting to other people as well, because we've had the opportunity to travel a couple places. So what would you care to share about some of the places we've been?
Oh, wow.
Under the Eastern Medicine banner.
Yes, we've been, thanks to the drum, we've seen so many places. Every day I remind myself how grateful I am, because I visit places that, I mean, as a child you can only see in movies and stuff. I've been to the Mohawk Trails, I've been to last 2 months ago, we went to North Carolina. I mean, thanks to the drum.
Yeah.
We play so many powwows, but also we also went to like museums and art shows and meet so many different talents and them getting appreciation for the music and the drum. So yeah, the list goes on. I can talk forever from the places we visit.
Sure. One of the things I like most about it is we walk in with this big drum. We're usually not dressed up that much. Everyone else got suits on.
Yeah.
We start banging on the drum, yelling and screaming, and under normal circumstances, the people would like be ushering security to escort you out the door, and instead everyone's quiet, and as soon as you finish, it's like a round of applause, and like you said, oh, I felt so good when you were drumming. So I guess that's the artist. We're getting to be the artist, so very excited stuff.
Yeah.
Dave, what about yourself? So how do you feel about the Easter Med? I know you've been drumming for a while. Dave actually came to one of my tribal body meetings and did some water drumming for my my people over there. So I know Dave's accustomed to using several different types of drum. You talked a little bit about the larger sort of Western powwow drums. I just mentioned the water drums, Dave. Could you talk a little bit more about some of the drumming that you've done and on the different types of drums as well?
Yeah, well, in the East originally, well, at least amongst some of the nations, I can't speak on behalf of all the nations, but there's different drums that are utilized, different instrumentation. In particular, like water drum, like you were bringing up, small drum, maybe about 6 inches in diameter. It has water inside it, gives it a distinctive sound. Other percussion instruments and various types of rattles that are used. Also percussion done with sticks. And sometimes some of the songs also is a simple stomp with no instrumentation at all. Those can be done with rattles or without rattles, depending on which set of songs you're doing. So, and such of the music, I'm sure there was variations from here to there. Stomp dances were very common throughout the East, all the way from the north to the south. So any of the nations who live between the north and south on the side of the Mississippi basically have probably been exposed or are aware of those, and some of the nations still hold on to those songs.
Yeah, so it seems to me, at least in my experience, the drum has a way to connect people. I would say across cultures, across races, because as I mentioned, African cultures have the drums as well. When you go into certain Asian cultures, they have the drums. When we were at the, what was it, Providence Art Club?
Yes, the art club.
There was a group there, I think they were Laotian,
Yeah.
and they were doing their traditional drumming as well. And then I also am aware of certain European cultures where they use the drums as well. I would imagine the Vikings probably did, cultures like that. So a lot of the ancient ones, the drum kind of transgresses those and kind of unifies people. Like you said, well, once you start drumming, it doesn't matter who they are, what their background is from, what they're going through. They're all drawn to the drum. They all want to sit around. They all want to partake. I even recall having to strongly encourage one gentleman to get away from the drum because he was a little bit too excited. I know, was that a Connecticut point or something like that?
Was at the beach, yeah.
He was a little too excited.
But also the children. I mean, a lot of children came around the drum with children what they call ADD and all kinds of problems. But at the drum, they just step right into it. You know, they get centered, they get grounded. And it's not only once, many times.
Yep.
When we see these children and they playing at the drum or even listening at the drum, and the parents ask them, even the